50 years. The branches scorched, the leaves and bark burned, residents holding out hope that it can be saved. And on our journey to Lahaina, we could see where it is in the distance, and then we noticed something. The water in the air, the effort, the hoses showering it with water, saturating the ground, trying to nurse it back to health here. If you would like to help the victims of Maui, you can go to abcnews.com for a list of organizations ready to assist. And I'll see you for a special edition of Nightline later tonight. I'm David Muir in Maui. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America.
Will be sunny with low humidity and not a single drop of rain. But then as we go into next week, we will see some big changes. I'll have all the details on that coming up.
Right now on News Channel 6 and 7, the community reacts to the shooting at WJBF. We'll hear from city leaders. Plus, search warrants at several Aiken County massage parlors. We'll have the latest details on the investigation. Cyber-related missions at Fort Gordon, what military officers have to say as your News at 7 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 7.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching News Channel 6 at 7. I'm Dee Griffin. Thanks so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins with a shooting at WJBF High School Wednesday morning, and this is the latest incidence of violence in Richmond County schools. Tiffany Hobbs has reaction from people in the community.
City officials and members of the community tell us about their growing concerns for young people and how they aim to help.
The cafeteria fight between two students ended with one student shot in the finger. News Channel 6 has learned the 16-year-old suspect turned himself in on Thursday. As instances of violence continue in local schools, parents along with city and state officials say things need to change soon.
We're probably going to need to increase some of the consequences that happen in order to send a message that we will not tolerate this. This is not something that should be happening, especially for those kids who are there to learn and to excel and to take advantage of the great things that the school system in Richmond County does offer.
Senator Harold Jones tells us he's urging students to treat each other better and for parents to get more involved.
Now, how can the state get involved? Anything that we can do to help with financial issues as far as security is concerned, we need to make sure that we'll step up to the plate and make sure that actually happens, because security is paramount. Our community cannot grow if we don't have an education system that's also growing and thriving. So we want to make sure that security is taken care of.
City budget conversations are upcoming. Mayor Garnett Johnson plans to ask city departments to model budget reductions that could be used for youth programming.
People don't realize that it's an investment. A lot of people say, well, there are already programs. There may be, but I don't know of any that's robust enough that really offers true programming to where kids can go after school, kids can go during the summers to really engage the way I did when I was younger.
Some people who live in Richmond County are reminding young people that nonviolence is an act of strength.
A lot of people don't do this to de-escalate stuff. Walk away. You're not, because you walk away from violence or a situation, that don't make you scared. It means you're saving somebody else's life or saving your own life. That's really what it boils down to.
Josie High School, Murphy Middle School, and the Marion E. Barnes Career Center will be closed through Friday. In Augusta, I'm Tiffany Hobbs, WJBF, News Channel 6.
A bomb threat at the East Aiken High School. We're learning more after search warrants were executed at 7 massage parlors in Aiken County. Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Kabachnock has more on the investigation.
The place seemed to be vacant every time I passed by there.
SLED and Homeland Security join other state and local law enforcement agencies for a joint investigation into suspected illicit activity.
We were actually on vacation, so we did not hear about it, but it's not surprising.
7 search warrants were executed Wednesday on massage parlors in Aiken and North Augusta. News Channel 6 saw authorities at the Flower Europe Massage on Georgia Avenue.
I'm surprised that there's the number of people that you say were in and out of that place. It has to be something more than hanky-panky going on. So.
The operation sheds light on the establishment's activities, raising questions within the community.
One opened a long time ago, and I did not go to that one, but then I noticed that another one opened across the street, so it was just kind of suspicious that 2 of them opened right there together. So
SLED mentioned the investigation is active and ongoing. More information may be available at a later time. Meanwhile, contact local law enforcement if you see any suspicious activity at Aiken County massage parlors.
And I would probably check out the ratings. We did not frequent or even visit, but yes, did not surprise me.
In Aiken County, I'm Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Gabbichstock, WJBF News Channel 6.
And time now for a first look at our weather, and meteorologist Jenna Petranti joins us now, and it was a beautiful day. A lot of us are dealing with sinus issues, but I'm not complaining because it was a gorgeous day.
Yes, and at least it's not nearly as hot. Wow, a big drop in temperatures, and most importantly, a big drop in the humidity. It's beautiful outside right now. Here's a look at our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam over at Television Park. We are seeing a few clouds in the sky, but overall abundant sunshine for us today with a high earlier of 90 degrees. That puts us 3 degrees below average, but once again, that key factor was the fact that the dew points were much lower today. Right now, we're seeing all 80s with the exception of Louisville, still at that 90-degree mark. 88 in Barnwell, 86 in Thompson. Augusta, you're at 87. Wrightsville, 89, 87 in Edgefield and Waynesboro. Now, as for those dew points, earlier today we had the upper 50s. Big change from the upper 70s a couple of days ago. Right now, seeing mostly those low to mid 60s. Actually, Bamberg still at 57 degrees. 62 in Aiken, 60 in Augusta, 63 in Waynesboro. So that makes the heat index only in the upper 80s and low 90s, actually right around the actual temperatures. So definitely no major heat to worry about today. We also have a nice breeze coming in from the southwest, 8 miles per hour in Aiken, 7 in Augusta, 5 now in Waynesboro. So there's the clouds passing by on satellite and radar. We have some pop-up showers and storms along the coastline, but we're nice and dry here in the CSRA with that weak system still across our area and another cold front approaching, which will just bring in some even drier air as we go into the next couple of days. So for tonight, things look fantastic, mostly sunshine. We'll be dropping into those low 80s by 9, upper 70s by 10 o'clock. Wonderful weather ahead, sunny, dry, not too humid, but major heat returns next week. And we also have a lot of activity in the tropics to talk about. So I'll have all that coming up in the full forecast, but back to you, Dee.
All right, Jenna, we'll see you then. Georgia Power announcing today that the process to load fuel into a new reactor at Plant Vogtle is underway. And during this process, technicians are scheduled to install 157 fuel assemblies into the Unit 4 reactor core. Unit 4 is scheduled to be placed into service sometime later this year or early next year. This comes after Plant Vogel's Unit 3 became fully operational earlier this month. A year and a half after the job. It is the fourth and final day of Augusta's TechNet Conference, and today leaders from the U.S. Army Cyber Center of Excellence at Fort Gordon held a panel discussion about what they've been working on. Hannah Latier has more in today's Cyber Insider.
The Cyber Center of Excellence trains and educates signal, cyber, and electronic warfare professionals. Some topics covered include how they're trying to further cybersecurity and artificial intelligence education.
Solutions need to be intuitive. We're growing generations of folks that know how to use electronic devices. They should have the same look and feel on the devices that we provide in order to conduct combat operations.
And some of this education began this year in the K-12 curriculum at Columbia County Schools.
Most of our younger kids have iPhones or Androids, but do they understand how they work? Those type of educational opportunities help create for us a greater opportunity later down the road in a long-term investment in a workforce that understands those emerging technologies that we need them to.
The TechNet Conference is a way for the Cyber Center to showcase what it does, while also gaining support from community partners.
The fact is the military can't do it by itself. The government can't do it by itself. It has to be a cooperation between the education forums, the industry, and the government together.
Panelists remember what Fort Gordon was like before the Cyber Center.
25 years ago, starting out here in sleepy Fort Gordon as a signal soldier, I've come back over the years for iterative training, and I've seen it really grow from what it was into this vibrant, soon-to-be Fort Eisenhower that we have now.
Chief Warrant Officer Sankey says the main goal of all projects within the center is national security.
There is a workforce shortage in signal and cyber type jobs, even beyond the military, beyond the government, and we need to make sure that the United States is fully secured for our future.
Those leaders are working on expanding that cyber curriculum to Richmond County schools next, and then into other surrounding counties. Augusta will see a new Kroger next spring, but for those in the area, this new grocery store will bridge many different gaps. Corporation partners and local officials walked through the construction site for the new grocery store. Senator Harold Jones was in that group and glad to be a part of this new project, as well as all of the resources. People who live on or near Jimmy Dias Parkway won't have to drive too far for groceries anymore. Also, nonprofit organizations in the CSRA have a new partner to help reduce food insecurity.
So you have both things that are actually happening. That's great. So you have a store that people can come shop at. We love that. But you also have a corporation that wants to be involved in the community and deal with various issues, including food insecurity. We're ecstatic to have them here.
Kroger also donated checks to Augusta Dream Center and Augusta Riverkeeper. Opening for the grocery store is set for spring of 2024.
Hey there, Georgia.
We know y'all are busy. If you're working like a dog, you don't have time to wait for insurance quotes. That's why at Georgia Farm Bureau Insurance, we've added convenient new ways to get that incredible customer service we're known for. Now you can get a quote and secure policies over the phone in minutes. Our top dogs are here to assist, working with your local agent to get you covered. We're working on his communication skills. Call now to get the help you need when you need it, so you can attack today.
Who is looking at your accounts to maximize your earnings or to protect your money.
State emergency officials have begun work on the latest hurricane evacuation study. They say it will help them prepare for and make decisions during a hurricane event in South Carolina. Jason Raven has more.
Well, the State Emergency Management Division says the hurricane evacuation studies are done about every 10 years. Now, work began on this iteration of the study earlier this year.
We're really wanting to understand everything that someone is thinking through when they're making this evacuation decision.
State Emergency Management Division Hurricane Program Manager Leah Blackwood says these studies serve as a foundation for the state's hurricane plans. SCEMD says a survey in these studies can help them establish actionable plans.
If there is a county that we see a very high percentage of people with critical transportation needs, we know in an event that county will need more mass transportation support to get people out of evacuation zones. So really the information that comes out of this is very directly actionable for us across several plans.
Previous studies helped develop these states' evacuation zones, refine planning timelines, and determine the best way to reach South Carolinians with emergency information. The new hurricane evacuation study will help state and local emergency managers adapt to changing communities and populations. With the population booming on the coast, this will be crucial to determine the best time to call for an evacuation.
Something that we plan for on the state side very heavily is something called an evacuation clearance time, which is a model showing us how long it would take to get the population to safety. And with that growing population that you mentioned, we know that our evacuation clearance times will be increasing. So we really need to understand where people's final destination is and what routes they're likely to take so that we can make sure we properly are supporting our coastal populations.
Any South Carolinian over the age of 18 who either lives or owns land in coastal South Carolina can take the survey that is available through SCEMD's website. Officials say so far about 3,000 people have taken the survey. They are aiming for 9,000 responses. The survey closes in September. In Columbia, I'm Jason Raven.
Still ahead, two tech giants could soon be paying billions back to customers. We'll tell you why and how after the full forecast. Are you ready to say big?
Get 1.9% APR and no monthly payments for 90 days on 2023 Terrain models. See your local GMC dealer.
Now, your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live Viper 6.
We had beautiful, beautiful weather today, and I'm sure you noticed it's much less humid than it has been over the past few days. So that's a very nice change of pace. Right now on our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam over at Doctor's Hospital, sun is getting ready to set. We do have a few clouds in the sky, but no rain across the CSRA. 87 degrees as our temperature now, so already below that 90-degree mark. And check this out, feeling like 86. It's feeling like 1 degree lower than the actual air temperature. That's something we haven't seen for really a couple months now. That's because dew points are now in the low 60s. So keep in mind, just a couple days ago, we were around 80 degrees for that dew point. And that's when it was feeling like around 110 to even 114 degrees. No longer the case now, with our temperatures anywhere from 83 up in McCormick to 86 in Thompson. Louisville still at 90 degrees. The rest of us, though, all in those mid to upper 80s, with the dew points mostly in those low 60s. We're seeing 62 in Aiken, 62 as well in Waynesboro, but 59 in Edgefield, 57 in Bamberg, a little bit higher down in Sylvania at 66. We do have more moisture along the coastline, along a trough of low pressure, but check out all that orange on our water vapor loop. That's some very dry air moving in behind this system. So this was a cold front earlier. It's really been stalling around our area, and high pressure is building in behind it, making for some really nice days ahead. And Game Night Live tonight, which is coming up right after the show, looks great. The weather will be mostly sunny. We'll be very comfortable, 80 degrees by the time the game ends. Really can't beat it. Now for this weekend, can't beat it either. It's going to be really consistent, staying at 93 degrees for Saturday, so right around average. Our lows will be in the upper 60s to low 70s. We will be warming up a tad on Sunday, but it really won't be until next week where we feel that dangerous heat again. So here's the setup. We have high pressure that's going to be building into the central United States, and that will be including the two states. So that'll give us a good chance of the heat index back to over 105 degrees, along with those temperature rising into the upper 90s. Now for tomorrow, though, we'll see only the low 90s as our highs. Could make it into the mid 90s, but that even may be a little bit overdone. Definitely not going to be seeing that triple-digit heat, at least for the next couple of days. But notice on Tuesday, we will have a big spike up to 98 degrees as our high. Now, the reason why that high pressure is moving into our area is because we have Hurricane Hillary here, which is pushing that ridge of high pressure out towards our direction. This is actually expected to become a major hurricane tonight, possible flooding across California and, of course, Baja California as well. We're also watching an area in the Gulf of Mexico for possible development, and 2 more waves off the coast of Africa that we'll have to keep an eye on. But back here in town over the next couple of days, we'll have another cold front coming through, just bringing more dry air in behind it. No rain expected with that. High pressure will be over our area as well. That's just a weak front headed our way. Now, our lows tonight will be in the upper 60s, highs tomorrow in the low 90s. And over the next 10 days, your forecast looks fantastic. Plenty of sunshine, heating up, though, eventually next week with slim rain chances. And we'll be right back.
Party's out. The WJBF Live Viper 6 Skyview Network is sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai. Low prices, big selection, and committed to quality customer service.
We turn now to 2 major settlements from tech giants Apple and Facebook. After settling class action suits, millions of customers could soon be getting a check. Rena Roy has the latest.
Payday for millions of people could soon be coming, with both Apple and Facebook settling class action lawsuits. The checks won't be big, but many consumers could see some extra cash. Apple agreeing to pay up to $500 million. The company accused of purposely slowing down older phones during upgrades. Apple denying any wrongdoing, saying it has never intentionally shortened the life of any product or degraded the user experience to drive customer upgrades. Still, lawyers say the money should be sent out soon, but only if you signed up about 3 years ago.
Lawyers are saying that because over 3 million people did file a claim before the deadline, you could be looking at between $65 and $90 per person. Fewer claims generally mean larger payouts for each claimant.
When it comes to Facebook, you can still sign up to get paid. Parent company Meta paying out $725 million to settle claims that allowed third parties to gain access to users' personal data. Meta also denies any wrongdoing, but anyone who had a Facebook account between May 24, 2007 and December 22, 2022 can file a claim.
After they pay it all out, you could get anywhere from $10 to $30. But I look at it this way, it's money you wouldn't have had otherwise. It's found money.
In order to be a part of the Facebook class action lawsuit, you have to sign up by next Friday, August 25th. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York. Great white sharks normally travel alone, but a pair of shark BFFs are baffling scientists. Back in December, researchers placed satellite trackers on them off the coast of Georgia. Well, the sharks haven't left each other's side since. They were spotted again last month and nearly 4,000 miles up the Atlantic coast. Their last location was in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. So far, scientists don't know why these two sharks happen to be migrating together. Maybe they just like each other.
Yeah, that's so sweet. I mean, I guess they aren't dating; they're just best friends.
Yeah, they didn't give the the specifics on their relationship.
Yeah.
But they just like being together.
Well, I hope they live a nice long life together out in the ocean.
Yes.
Well, for our forecast this week, it's looking beautiful. Check out all that sunshine. Our temperatures will be in the low 90s, much lower humidity, but then we will be much hotter next week with those rain chances staying very low.
All right, well, that does it for us. Have a great night. Entertainment Tonight is next.
We have some really nice days ahead of us. It will be very sunny with lower humidity and no rain to worry about. I'll have all the details on your forecast coming up.
Now on News Channel 6 at 11, East Aiken Elementary facing a lockdown following a bomb threat today. We have the details. Plus the latest on the Georgia indictment of former President Donald Trump. And why one state leader is saying a new supermarket coming to Augusta is so important for the area. As your news at 11 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 11.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you for joining us tonight. Coverage you can count on begins with a lot. It is time now for a first check of the forecast, and for that we turn to meteorologist Jenna Petracci.
Well, Jenny, it was a beautiful day. I'm sure everyone noticed the lower humidity. And check out this gorgeous time lapse of the sunset behind me. This was over on our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam at SRP Park. You can see we did have some cloud cover today, but those clouds faded as the sun went down. And now it's a nice, clear and starry night. Notice the clouds staying in our southeastern counties, though, anywhere from, say, Barnwell over to Swainsboro, a little bit of cloud cover. And that's where we have a trough of low pressure. So that's keeping some showers off the coast. All of us, though, across the southeast, rain-free with high pressure taking over. And you can really see the difference in the dew points based off where that trough is located. On the other side of it, we're seeing some low to mid-60s, 65 in Washington, 63 in Lincolnton. Still some 70s, though, here and there. So a little bit more muggy in certain locations this evening. But all of us dealing with the cooler temperatures. So definitely a little bit of heat relief. 71 degrees in Augusta, 73 in Barnwell. This is typically what our lows are for the time for the overnight hours, and already at 11 o'clock we're in those low 70s. So tomorrow morning when you're headed out the door, expect some mid to upper 60s, so definitely much cooler than normal. Today's high temperature was also cooler than normal at 90 degrees. Our low was 73, so that's exactly what I'm talking about where typically we're in those low 70s in the morning time, but we'll see those 60s when headed out to the door tomorrow morning. 66 at the 6 o'clock hour, 90 by 2 p.m. It'll be right in the low 90s once again with wonderful weather ahead all the way through the weekend. We'll continue to stay sunny, dry with lower humidity. So enjoy that while it lasts because summer isn't done yet. Next week we'll have another big heat wave headed our way. And also the tropics are really heating up. And I'll have all the details on that coming up shortly. But back to you, Jenny.
All right, thank you, Jenna. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has a little over a week to surrender to authorities in Atlanta after he was handed his fourth indictment this week. Atlanta Bureau Chief Archit Seshadri has more.
Former President Donald Trump, along with 18 other defendants, are accused of attempting to overturn the 2020 elections in Georgia. They have until August the 25th to turn themselves in.
The fake electors scheme has led to a number of the charges in this indictment in Georgia, including the making of false statements, perjury. These are all acts in furtherance of the RICO conspiracy.
In Atlanta's Fulton County, the arraignment process is separate from the booking process.
After arraignments, we enter into a period of the prosecution sharing some of its evidence with the defense so that they get a sense of the prosecution's case. And that process is sort of tends to be ongoing I would expect to see pretrial motions, issues that the defense is raising that they want to get litigated and out of the way up front.
Legal experts say there is chatter that Mark Meadows and Donald Trump are trying to move the case from Georgia courts to federal courts.
At least two of the defendants, that's the former president and Mark Meadows, trying to remove this case into federal court, claiming that they were federal actors at the time of this alleged behavior. They were acting in their capacity as federal actors on behalf of their federal offices, and for that reason, the case should be handled in federal court.
District Attorney Bonnie Willis has filed paperwork and requested the judge to expedite the Georgia trial date by next March, but legal experts say that is highly unlikely.
Even once trial technically starts, once they try to pick a jury, it could be months, maybe even a whole year before they're even able to seat a jury that is able to sit without passion, prejudice, or bias.
Reporting in Atlanta, Archit Seshadri, Atlanta Bureau Chief.
Augusta is getting a new Kroger next spring, in the spring of 2024. Coming up, how the state of South Carolina is making sure it's prepared for hurricanes. The details and a full look at your forecast when we come back.
Augusta. The live Viper 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai. Now, your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live Viper 6.
Good Thursday evening. It was a really awesome day. We had plenty of sunshine and finally some much needed heat relief. Now we have nice clear skies and it's a dry night. Here's a live look at our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam at Augusta Regional Airport. 71 degrees here in town. Definitely much cooler than normal. That cold front is bringing in not only cooler air but also some drier air with dew points in the upper 60s. And earlier today we even had the upper 50s. So it definitely felt really nice outside today. And right now it feels great as well with those temperatures all in the low 70s, pretty consistent here across the board. Dew points are a little bit all over the place though. We're seeing anywhere from 60 degrees in Lincolnton to 73 down in Millen, so there's definitely still more moisture around our southeastern counties, and you can see just that on our water vapor loop. This is where a trough is located, and on the other side of it is all that dry air moving in with a northwest wind, and still that cloud cover as well for some of our southeast counties with some showers along the South Carolina coastline. Another round of Game Night Live tomorrow, kickoff at 7:30. It's going to be another beautiful day, pretty much a repeat of the weather we had today. 83 at halftime, another day of nice lower humidity, and the weekend looks wonderful as well. We'll be at 93 on Saturday, so getting a little bit warmer each day. Still very tolerable heat though, and enjoy that while it lasts, because next week things are heating up. It's definitely still summertime, and that means we'll have another chance of that heat index over 105 degrees as this dome of high pressure takes over our area. Now, part of the reason for that is because we have a major hurricane out in the Pacific. This is Hurricane Hillary, which just became a Category 3 storm as of 8 p.m. this evening, and it is headed up towards the north, towards California. Now, this pushes that high pressure into our direction, which is really the cause for our heat next week. Notice the track of Hillary showing its stay as a major hurricane all the way until Sunday. Then it will begin to weaken as it's expected to make landfall in Baja California and bring a good amount of rainfall across California, which could definitely lead to some serious flooding. Now, closer to home, we also have an area that's expected to develop. This is currently located over Hispaniola, and it's expected to head towards the west, and a low pressure area could form in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, in addition to that, as of 11 o'clock, we now have 3 more areas to watch, all low pressure areas well out into the Atlantic, so the tropics are certainly heating up. Now, our futurecast for tomorrow showing that high pressure over the area with another weak frontal boundary coming through. This won't bring us any rain, but it will bring us some even drier air behind it, lowering our humidity for Saturday. And then on Sunday, we will have the chance of a sea breeze, which could bring a few spotty showers and some clouds, but overall still keeping those rain chances very low. We'll see anywhere from the mid 60s to low 70s tonight, and for tomorrow, we'll be right around average in the low 90s. And before we get to your 10-day forecast, there's our beautiful viewer picture of the day from Hepzibah, taken by Karen Middleton. Some lovely flowers along with a beautiful sunset. Now, your 10-day forecast showing those nice sunny skies tomorrow all the way through next Wednesday. Our rain chances are at 0%. Our temperatures will be heating up by a degree each day, eventually to 98 on next Tuesday.
Gorgeous sunny days ahead.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Jenna. South Carolina emergency officials have begun work on the latest hurricane evacuation study to help them prepare for and make decisions during a hurricane event. These studies are done about every 10 years. Previous studies helped develop the state's evacuation zones, refine planning timelines, and determine the best ways to reach South Carolinians with emergency information.
We're really wanting to understand everything that someone is thinking through when they're making this evacuation decision, because that helps us know, not only for a messaging standpoint, should we have a significant situation, but that also factors directly into our hurricane planning.
Any South Carolinian over age 18 who either lives or owns land in coastal South Carolina can take a survey on SCEMDS website. Still, I have the latest on the recovery efforts in Hawaii, how the governor is planning to protect local landowners when your news continues. First, though, the winning numbers in tonight's South Carolina Lottery Pick 3, 491. You pick 4 winning numbers, 8043, Fireball 2.
The WJBF Live Viper 6 Skyview Network is sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai. Low prices, big selection, and committed to quality customer service.
Hawaii's governor vows to protect landowners victimized by opportunistic buyers when Maui rebuilds from the deadly wildfires. Melissa Adon now with the details.
Search and recovery crews combing through about 40% of the burned areas of Lahaina as they search for the unaccounted more than 100 people not surviving the deadly wildfires on Maui. A Red Cross executive calling these search and rescue efforts a mass fatality. FEMA also on the ground working with the Hawaii governor to figure out long-term housing plans for the many displaced, as many are sharing their incredibly moving stories of survival and rescue. These powerful images captured by 2 captains who made the decision to help families who had escaped the fire by jumping into the ocean.
It looked like a zombie apocalypse. Everything was on fire. Everybody was just covered in soot.
Captain Travis DeWater and Riley Coons sharing to ABC World News Tonight anchor David Muir their emotional encounter.
When I heard that, because schools weren't in that day, it was so windy that a lot of these were for children. At home.
ABC's David Muir touring the historic western Maui town of Lahaina.
Just a haunting scene here all along Front Street, where so many families and the people of Lahaina came down the hill to try to escape the flames and the heat. So many jumping in the water here just to survive.
Hope also pictured in Lahaina. The 150-year-old banyan tree, its branches and bark are burned, but the community trying to save it by watering the iconic tree. FEMA has launched a rumor page to try to dispel any misinformation out there and help those most affected by the wildfires. You can visit FEMA.gov. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Maui.
Coming up in sports, the high school football season officially kicks off. We'll show you the pair of local games that got the season started. Don't go away.
Jenny?
All right. Thank you so much, Brendan. When your news continues, how 2 major settlements from tech companies might put a little bit of cash back in your wallet. Stay with us. Well, listen to this. Tech giants Apple and Facebook have settled their class action lawsuits, meaning millions could soon be getting a check from both companies. Apple is paying up to $500 million due to claims it was intentionally shortening the lifespans of their products. This means about $60 per person who signed the settlement 3 years ago. Facebook is still accepting claims for accounts made from 2007 to December 2022.
Send the checks to Television Park.
Yeah, we'll all take a little bit of it.
Made out the cash.
Well, for our forecast this week, it's looking beautiful all the way through the weekend. weekend and even the beginning of next week. Plenty of sunshine, no rain to worry about. Enjoy the lower humidity and cooler temperatures, though, because it won't last forever. Notice Tuesday will still be nice and sunny, but the temperatures will definitely be much hotter, going up to 98 degrees. And at that point, the humidity will be back as well, so it will definitely be feeling well over 100, but still just only a 20% chance of rain all the way through this time next week.
You did that perfect. The lowest high on Friday night for football. So we'll all be out there.
Yep.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Very nice. I am getting ready for the United Way kickoff breakfast in the morning. Looking forward to seeing lots of you there. Get a good night's sleep. See you bright and early. Good night.